I'm in my comfortable surroundings here in Boston, and obviously living at home, so it's easy for me. I think this works out great. I see there's definitely a lot of advantages.
And what Dana's saying yesterday at the press conference, the winner of this fight will get the title shot. Do you have a preference? I know Gray's first. He's going to focus on him for Saturday. But would you rather have a BJ Penn rematch or look at Frankie Edgar and say, I want to pick that guy apart?
Both of those guys are great fighters, and I just want to fight the guy who wins, really, because whoever wins that fight is going to really solidify themselves as the best lightweight in the world. So that's the guy who I want to fight, really. I don't like to say I want to face this guy or that guy. And anything can happen out there. I'm just looking forward to facing the best Frankie Edgar, the best BJ Penn, whoever wins.
So revenge doesn't factor in at all in trying to get that one back?
No, not at all. I think if I was the same fighter, if I was the same person, then I'd say, yeah, I want to go out there. But it's not even about that. I really try to be a different fighter every time out, and try to see it as a different opportunity and a different me. So, I think the only reason I would lean towards BJ Penn is because of what he's done in the sport, as opposed to Frankie. No disrespect to Frankie. Frankie's obviously a tremendous fighter, but just BJ has that legendary status. There's no doubt about it. And beating a guy like that elevates your standing. So that's the only reason I would lean towards BJ. But other than that, I just want to face the best guy.
What's it like being here for a third time? I mean, you've accomplished this twice before. What's it like being here a third time?
It's just another fight the way I see it. Every fight is important in the UFC, and it's just up to me to go out there and do my best and have fun, and that's what I'm just trying to focus on. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting.
Can you break down that main event? How do you see it unfolding?
I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think we're going to see a more aggressive BJ Penn. There's no doubt about it. I think he really needs to establish his jab more. I think he was just looking to counter Frankie Edgar, and a guy who's that fast like Frankie gets in and gets out. It's hard to counter a guy like that. I think BJ expected to counter him. You have to go at Frankie Edgar. I think establish his jab, go after him, and let the mistakes come off of that. If you're letting Frankie lead the pace, then it's going to be very difficult because he is smaller than a lot of lightweights, but it equals speed as well, and speed can be a very difficult factor out there. And I think that was the biggest thing for BJ to adjust to. BJ needs to establish his jab, get his range going early, and not just throw the big bombs to try to counter. He needs to throw 3 and 4 combinations, and when he catches Frankie, he has to make sure it counts.
Okay, what do you think this would mean for BJ's legacy if Frankie beat him twice?
For BJ's legacy, BJ will always go. It doesn't matter if he loses for the next 10 fights. It's similar to Chuck Liddell or whoever it is. Those guys will always go down as legends. They've already established their legacy. They're champions, a few times over now. So it won't affect, their legendary status. It may mean that maybe they haven't evolved as much as they should have or whatever. But I'm sure we'll see the best BJ Penn out there. And also it shows that the level of competition in the UFC and in mixed martial arts is getting better all the time. There's nobody who's just laying around. People are evolving the game. People are getting better. We're getting true mixed martial artists now on a consistent basis. True world-class athletes on a consistent basis now. So the sport, this is just the beginning. I think George St. Pierre's and the BJ Penns and all those guys with those physical aspects and the technical aspects will be the norm, 5-10 years from now.
Okay, obviously Gray is a tough opponent, undefeated, but he's never been in this situation before, whereas you have. Do you think that gives you a leg up on him in any way?
I think so. I really feel pretty cool and calm going into this fight. I'm not sure. I can't speak for how Gray's mental state is right now, but I could say that thankfully I've been in this situation before. I feel like everyone's asking me if I feel a lot of pressure for this fight, and I honestly don't. And they're asking me, well, do you feel more pressure now for the title? I've been here before, so thankfully all those fights that I've had before, all that experience I've had before has prepared me for things like this. So I really just feel like it's just another fight. I'm going to go out there and make the most out of it. This is a dream come true for me, and I just want to go out there and have fun.
Dana said yesterday he feels like once you get to that title fight, for whatever reason, you fight differently in those situations. Have you been able to pinpoint that? Is it something mental? Is it something strategic?
The first fight, I think we can pretty much throw out the window. I had one fight at 155. I think I had maybe 7 fights. I was one of 4 lightweights in the whole division. So that fight, I don't know if we could really count. Do you want a title shot, Kenny? Is there any other lightweights around? Okay, I guess. But this is a completely different fight. The fight against BJ Penn, I blame myself in my preparations and my execution out there. I think there's a couple things. It's how you compete, but it's also what kind of fighter you are. I really believe that I think I performed really, bad in that fight. I don't think that was the best performance, but that happens. We all go in there with excuses. Both fighters have their situations they have to deal with. It's the guy who deals with that better and competes that night that's going to win. And I think the key is really putting yourself in a position to win, and that means getting all the skills, the right style for you to give you those odds to win the fight. And I think I'm doing that now at the best of my ability. Each fight, each loss I see as a great opportunity to learn. Of course, your wins as well you learn, but your losses is really when you learn the most about yourself.
Kenny, what are you expecting from Gray? Are you expecting him just to come out and try and take you down in the very first minute of the fight? And what have you kind of game plan for him?
I'll go out right and say what he should do, and that's to go out, keep it close on the feet, try to steal the round at the end with a takedown. That's what I think. That's what he's probably going to try to do. But who knows? He may try to take me down right off the bat. He may try to take me. I don't know. I don't really worry so much about what Gray's going to do. I worry about what I'm going to do, and I just got to go out there and fight my fight. So it's going to be a great fight. There's no doubt about it. Gray's tough. He's undefeated for me.
How do you rate him when he gets a guy down? Because he's never submitted a guy. He's never really knocked a guy out besides one guy in the UFC. If you're on your back, are you comfortable there? How dangerous do you view him when he gets on top?
It's something I worked a lot on. A lot of my game, a lot of my strengths is when I get on top of a guy, and I think I've shown some weaknesses when I'm off my back, and it's something I've really worked on since the BJ Penn fight. Really getting high-level guys challenging me when I'm on my back repeatedly from the worst of positions, and I feel very comfortable down there now, and I'm expecting to fight there. I expect Gray to get a takedown or two out there. But I'll be ready there, that's for sure. I think that's where I've made a lot of improvements with my jiu-jitsu game, with my brother Keith. Really worked on that tremendously. Defense, and of course creating offensive situations from my back.
And one thing he said that if you get cracked, then your game plan goes out the window. Is that a weakness that you can you look at on yourself, or do you think that that's just something he said leading up to the fight?
I'm not sure where he got that. Like I said, when I had minimal skills, minimal experience, I fought Chun Shirk for 5 rounds, and he pressured me, he beat me up good, and I was there all the way to the end, trying to win with an arm lock or trying to knock his head off, whatever I could. I don't know what he's talking about. He's the bully. He's the guy you need to be concerned with if his will gets broken. I've never seen him in a bad situation. I've never seen him in a situation where he's getting beat down or he's on his back. He has to come back from the situation. That's something he needs to deal with, I think, with his own fights. He has 9 fights of experience. I've never seen him in a bad situation ever.
Last question.
Does the Toney Couture fight intrigue you? Just as kind of the clash of styles a little bit. What do you think might happen?
Does the Toney Couture fight intrigue me? I'll be honest and say no. Just because I think Randy's going to go out there and take care of business within 2 minutes. It's not about boxing versus MMA. It's about 2 mixed martial artists being in a cage, and with those rules, Randy has the advantage. The same way if Randy went and tried to box Toney in a boxing ring, Tony's got the big advantage. So I think it's interesting just because he's the first high-level boxing guy coming over at a high level in the UFC. But other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward match. We're going to find out what we already know, and that's James Toney probably should have worked more wrestling and jiu-jitsu and become a more complete mixed martial artist.
Cool. Thank you very much.